What's up, you guys? My name is Wolf, and welcome back to LEGO Arts. So, in the last episode, we did a showcase on LEGO Avengers Endgame, which turned out to be a two-parter, which I was hoping not to happen, but happened. But the final recording turned it out to be an hour, and it was just like, my iPad can't handle that much data, so I have to divide it up into two pieces. But for this episode, we're doing a showcase on a video game I recently completed called Devil May Cry 5. So, pretty much with like most games that I found when playing, and it was something that I discovered randomly on the internet, just like a normal day on YouTube, and then I saw it and it was just like, ooh, that actually looks pretty cool. Very cool. In fact, I almost mistook it for like a Final Fantasy kind of game, because the animation was very similar to it, and the characters were as well in a way, but when I saw it was Capcom, it was just like, oh, it looks like Final Fantasy, but it's not. That's cool. And I was originally going to do at least one video of Devil May Cry 5, but in the end, after hearing like some of the soundtrack to it, I quickly thought, like, you know what? I don't want like YouTube copywriting me on that, so let's just go ahead, I'll play for fun, and we'll do something else Devil May Cry related. So for our showcase, we got Nero and as well as Dante. These characters were only two. It took about like 4 days to do, like 2 for each for like all the detailing, the fabrics, as well as the swords. These minifigures weren't entirely as complicated as some of the others, but they did provide a few challenges for me, which I will explain as I review each of them. So, as you guys know, hold your rope, we're going to take these minifigures one at a time to review them, explain my process, why I went with this route, and then go from there. So, without further ado, let's get the pedestal out and get the showcase on the road. So first up on the list is the main protagonist of the series, Dante. When I first saw this character, I won't lie, I almost thought that he was going to sound like Hank Anderson for some reason. That he almost had like the appearance of Hank, but has the personality of Crow from Ruby. Hey, it's like when seeing him, it's just like, oh, if these two hung out, there'd probably be a lot of chaos. But anywho, with this character, it was pretty interesting to do. Like, the hardest part about this, I think, would be the sword and the coat. So, going through each of them one at a first. So, I'm going on with this minifigure. I use like the hairpiece that is used for Reinhardt from Overwatch. Since Reinhardt's mainly wearing the suit all the time, I felt like that he doesn't really need this hairpiece. So, let's give it on to Dante. And as well, he's got the same headpiece that was used for Bucky Barnes, as well as Peter Quill. I almost thought about like maybe doing a decal of it, but when just looking at his facial expression, it's just like that pretty much matches up with Dante. Plus, he's also got like those small facial hairs, which I almost thought about like trying to maybe do like small white hairs. But then, when I fully got a look at the face, it was just like, I can't paint that small. I don't have any tool that can go that size. So, that went out the window immediately. And it was just like, okay, I can actually work with this. I can work with this anyways. The torso piece, I can't remove the coat because I had to glue it on yet again. But the torso, it was pretty easy to do. It was just like a dark blue mixed with a gray. And it also got like some of the tan skin to represent like his shirt slightly open. On the sides, like the arms were pretty easy as well. I just like painted on like the fingerless gloves, as well as putting on like this special like crimson red. First putting that on, and then like the same blue as well as the shirt. And then adding on like the flesh to fully top it off. On the back, you could see like a little bit more detailing on the coat. Hang on. Remove. Hopefully I can remove. There we go. And of course, like, he's got the double face, which is still weird. But, anyways, you can see, like, more detailing on the coat. So, sort of like the small skull that I painted on here, as well as, like, the gold, like, buttons. A little bit on the detailing of, like, the shoulder pads that go on the coat. As well as sort of like, the end down here of how, like, there's this small piece that's opened up, as well as the rest. It was pretty difficult on doing the coat, this coat, because I was basing this off of a cosplay outfit of it, because with photos from the game, I couldn't really find a whole lot of photos from it. And so the coat was definitely the trickiest part of this build. Same thing with the front. And I will admit the front of the coat could have come out better. I didn't fully like measured it up. I tried to make like the openings as even as possible. But unfortunately in the end it didn't fully come out correct. I did, however, match up of like towards down at the bottom waist of the coat on how in the game it kind of looks like that there's more coats like more on the torso, and then like as it goes down it sort of like it sort of cuts off a little bit and centers more on like the sides of the legs. Thanks. I can bend the legs actually. I can do some like small articulation. Same thing with the hands, though it is pretty tricky. And another hard thing would be the sword. So hang on. This is a little bit tricky. Okay, easy does it. Okay, almost got it there. Okay, gotta be careful with this. Okay, wait, hold on. There we go. Sorry. Alright, so, okay, Harold, zoom out a little bit, Harold. Zoom out. Thank you. So, this sword is without a doubt one of the biggest swords I've ever built. And not just with keyblades, but with normal swords. This thing is massive. So this sword is called Devil's Sword Dante. I had trouble of choosing. I was in between like this or the Rebellion or Double Sword Sparta. For the Rebellion, I didn't go with that route. Because I kind of wanted that blades to be used for something else, like maybe for a different build of Devil May Cry. And the Double Sword Sparta, that thing is a very weird design. If you don't know what it is, it's basically like a giant sword with a very sharp blade, and like a spine attached to it. So I have no idea how I would be able to build that on that. And with this, so I decided to go ahead with Devil Sword Dante, because I thought the sword design, it was pretty cool, and also the power it has is pretty awesome as well. So the way how I did with this blade is that using like one of my spare staffs that I had lying around, I cut off the end parts of it. I then like added in a special brick piece on the bottom to represent like the jewel, then a little molding clay, and then for the rest of the blade, I sculpted out the giant sword. I do admit that this blade probably should have come out a little bit smaller, but at the end of the final result, it was just like, ooh, this actually looks pretty cool. I don't want to fully damage it. And he's also got like these sort of claws hanging out at like the handle of the sword. I think they're supposed to be demon claws, because Dante is part demon, So when doing this, it was just like, how am I gonna do this? So I settled in going for a couple of brick pieces that I had in my drawer. That's when putting them on, that I would glue them on, and then later on apply some clay, so that way they stay on. Though the sword is difficult to get back on. Okay, there we go. And it's also slightly difficult to position it, because as you can see, he's kind of blocked off. For a majority, and okay, can we? Yeah. Okay, apparently I can't move the arm too much, which was a main reason of like why I had to glue the coat on. I still don't know why this happens. But sometimes the coat is easy to move, and sometimes it's easy to move the arms without the coat. Other times it's not. I have no idea why it does that. But cutting the coat itself was a lot easier because my sister got actual fabric cutting scissors, and she specifically told me it's just like, use them on fabrics, nothing else. So when cutting out the coat, and especially the holes, it was a whole lot easier for it. So it really, really helped out when making this character. Your turn. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I would have made the other weapons for Dante, but since this weapon is already big all on its own, and I don't really have any ideas of how to equip the other weapons, like his motorcycle, his Cerberus, and of course his iconic jackpot pistols. It was a little bit tricky to pull off. off. But all in all, I'd say this minifigure came out pretty cool. So let's go ahead to our next and last minifigure. And last up on our list is Nero Hero, one of the playable characters from Devil May Cry 5. And with this character, like with Dante, was kind of easy to do, but did add a couple of challenges. So, when going through this character, of course, like, he's got, his hairpiece is basically the same as, what's another character that has his hairpiece? Oh yeah, with Hawkeye from the first Avengers showcase. Okay, so, I almost thought that maybe I'd have to, like, sand it down like I did with Ronan as well as Thor, but upon closer inspection, I figured that, like, there doesn't really need to be any sanding. All I really have to do is just, like, give it a new paint job, and it should work. The headpiece is pretty much just a spare head that I had lying around in my drawer that I saw it, and it's just like, that's roughly close to what Nero can look like in the game, so we can use that. And that's also, it works pretty well. His torso, originally this torso was going to be Dante's, because I originally thought about, like, maybe just having, like, painted torsos, no, like, really 3D elements. But then I thought, like, should I challenge myself? Yeah, I should challenge myself. Let's do the torso. Let's do, like, the painted torso. Or so. But I didn't use that torso. But I didn't, like, repaint this torso for Dante, because I figured that, like, maybe I can use this for something different in the future. And then I decided, like, you know what? Let's use it for Nero. It's a pretty good color, so we can use it for his shirt. And so you can see, like, a little bit of tan, tan color of the color of where the shirt is. His pants, and they're pretty much just standard black legs, because that's what it wears in the game. The coat itself came out better than Dante's coat. Cutting wise, as you can see, I don't think it's perfectly even, but it's much better than the other one. As well as, like, it was very much of a pain of doing, like, those small details of, like, some of the metal aspects. I almost thought about doing those with clay, but again, and I needed to, like, paint them on because they were a bit too big. You can also see of, like, the shoulder pads of, like, where it is on the coat. I painted those in a different color. And of course, like, he's got his hood on the back, which is made of clay instead. So I almost thought about the fabrics, but I figured that, like, the clay would be much better to sculpt with, so I can work with it. And not really a whole lot of more detailing on the back, just with, like, a little bit more detailing that's connected to the front of the coat that I put that on there. In the end, this came out pretty good. So unfortunately, I can't, like, remove this coat, but I will say that even though I had to glue this on, this coat came out pretty cool. And this special blue that I mixed together came out very nice. So I'd say that either way, it's pretty much a win. So this looks cool all in all. With both of his arms, both are different. So on this arm, as you can see, it's just regular, but with a fingerless glove. And on the other arm is, of course, like his iconic Devil Bringer. It's a breaker or bringer. But his robotic limb, let's just call it that. His robotic limb that he has in Devil May Cry 5. I decided to go ahead with the Overture? I forgot how to pronounce his name, but this is basically like the standard arm. He starts off in the game with its electrical properties that Nico created. This reminded me a little bit of when I was making Yang from Ruby on that whole, like, robotic arm aspect. I did have to search on some photos of, like, what exactly it looks like, so I could get, like, a good idea of what I needed to paint it on. So I did my best on painting on sort of, like, the details of the arm. I'll move my light a little bit. There we go. So you can see, like, some of the detailing that I had to do on the arm, and his hand, and I might have gotten on the silver incorrect. I think it might be blue, but I couldn't find an accurate photo out of that, like, gave me an accurate description of, like, what the hand looks like. So with most of the photos that I found, it was, like, silver, and then gold, and then finally the fingertips were, like, a bronze. a bronze kind of color. So if I did get the silver wrong, like if it's actually blue, I'll go ahead and correct that. And but otherwise, I think the arm is as accurate as possible. If not, I'll go ahead and fix it. And then of course, like he's got his sword called the Red Queen. So okay, Harold, zoom out a little bit. And so Red Queen. I mean, I will admit the handle itself is not entirely as accurate as I was hoping. And why half of it is red and the other half is not is simply because I wanted to put this on the minifigure without the paint peeling off as it has in the past. I was sick and tired of that. And that's so I thought like let's just go ahead and have one specific handle and it'll be like blank and then the rest have like the detailing. That way it can work out pretty well. I did add this brick stud piece as sort of like a base to apply on like this sort of like grip handle, because the way how Red Queen is like, it's like a motorcycle handle for like when you grip it a bit and sort of twist it, it boosts with energy. And I think that was the basic idea of how they were going with this. I then also sculpted out like some of the other pieces towards it. I took some scissors and cut off like these small bits on the sword, and sculpted out on like this area here for the base of the sword, and then just smoothed it all together in order to create like sort of the long blade edge of the sword. Detailing was a bit more of a pain. Pretty much with any sword that if it's detailing that has to be exactly the same, it's difficult when you're doing it when you're on an object that you can't fully see on both sides. So the hardest thing about this was making sure that both of the sides were just about, if not close enough to being even and being to the same design. So that was pretty difficult to pull off. But in the end, I did manage to get it just about. Same thing with like this long black parts. And all in all, I'd say the sword came out pretty cool. It was a pretty interesting build to do. Like with Devil Sword Dante, I didn't cut it. Not because I didn't want to like damage the blade too bad. But all in all, I'd say the sword came out pretty cool. I didn't do the rest of the Devil Breakers because I need the brick arms for like other minifigures in the future. And also, I didn't include it in like his gun because he's mainly left-handed when it comes to his weapons, like his gun and his sword. So I didn't include those in. Like with Dante, if I get around to doing something different in the future, I'll give him like his other weapons. But until then, this was the final result for Nero, and I'd say this actually really turned out as a pretty cool minifigure. So let's go ahead and wrap this showcase up and begin talking about some more projects in the future. And that's it for this episode of LEGO Arts. I hope you guys enjoyed this showcase. This actually turned out pretty cool. I really enjoyed doing the detailing on the swords as well as the coats. And if you guys want me to do more Devil May Cry characters in the future, let me know in the comment section below, and I'll see what I can do. If you guys want to play Devil May Cry, like if you're now intrigued by this game, you can download it on the PS4 store, on Xbox One, and even go on Steam and purchase it from there on any platform. But if you're interested, I recommend trying it out because it's actually a pretty cool game. And we'll be getting back to the flow of things for minifigures. I'm still working on my big buildable figures, and I'm getting ideas for some new Marvel characters. Like I'm thinking about doing a Venom showcase because I recently saw Venom and I thought it was pretty cool. So it was just like, okay, I want to do a big fig of Venom. I'll figure out how I'll approach that in the future, but when I get around to it, I'll do a showcase on that. And yeah, pretty much we'll get back into the flow of things and see you guys all in the future. So if you guys want to see more videos like this in the future, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that bell for notifications. It really helps us work on Let's Plays, LEGO projects, and really lots of fun. So anywho, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, hit that like button, comment below what you think, share it with your friends, subscribe to YouTube, follow me on Twitch, and here's half of the road. Oh! Whoa! Thank you guys, and I'll see you next time. What do you guys, Moonrises?